Just a gentle reminder to remind you that we are less than a year away from the 2026 FIFA World Cup, which is, of course, in this region of the world. Cannot wait. These are some of the qualified countries. Of course, the co-hosts, Canada, United States and Mexico, setting the plates for everybody. And some of the notable names, the AFC, Australia, and Saudi Arabia, of course, is the wild card. We've already seen how they've done in international competitions. The CAF region, Algeria, Morocco. A lot of people calling them the dark horse. I don't think they're a dark horse anymore in terms of what they've proven in international football the last couple of years. Argentina, the world's best right now. Ecuador, incredible defensively. Norway really shut down a European group, really showcased what they could do, especially in a group with some sharks like Italy. England leading the line and doing what they do best. France, of course, Germany, Netherlands, some of the notable names. And shout out to the OFC. We see New Zealand doing what they do and get an opportunity to represent themselves at the highest level. And welcome back in here to the studio, JD Dyer, Ian Joy. And this is the part where I told you about accountability here on Scoreline, because Ian is going to rattle through some of his top 10 picks. Of course, these are the countries that have already qualified for the World Cup, we already know. But you're going to give us a 10-1 in terms of the teams to look out for and how you're feeling about them going into next year's tournament.
I mean, obviously, you can see all the nations that have already qualified. It's going to be a very big World Cup and very difficult to predict who's going to be in the final.
That sounds like excuses, Ian. That sounds like excuses.
Tough to do when you don't know who's going to be qualified completely. I mean, until we see the full brackets filled out, we don't really know how this is going to play out there. But there will be, from all of these nations, there will be an absolute shock team that surprises everybody. I think that's why this World Cup is structured the way it is done. So, from the teams that qualified, I've decided to go in an unusually different route. I'm choosing from multiple, obviously, associations, and my first nation that I'm choosing to surprise everyone will be Japan. Now, Japan have a lot of talent at their disposal. They score a lot of goals. 30 goals in qualifying. Kubo, Ito, Ueda, Kamada, Minamino. Obviously, the names ring off the back of the tongue. They've got a great experience. They've got a very good, experienced coach on the sidelines now for multiple major competitions. But I think their talent, and especially the goals that are scoring throughout qualification process, sometimes it's difficult to read, right? Because each region will be different. The opponent will be sometimes easier in other regions. But Japan always go about their business. The result in the performance against the United States national team recently didn't necessarily blow me away. But they actually have put out some very good friendly performances as well. But throughout the qualification process, they've been absolutely outstanding. So Japan sneak in at my number 10 spot. First and foremost, you like?
I like it. The notable wins against Brazil and Ghana is definitely ones I'm really impressed that they got that on the graphic. The goal difference speaks for itself. But they do want to go forward. They do want to score a load of goals. I love them always wanting to be on the front foot. I give you Japan at number 10. Let's go to number 9. Take me away.
Before I move to number 9 real quickly, would you go Japan over South Korea?
Ooh, I think both had a really different type of performance against the men's US national team. We had a really different type of perspective. I really liked what South Korea did in spells of that game, but I feel like this experience you talk about with Japan, especially in international competitions, prove its worth.
All right, no shock at number 9, and squeezing into my top 10 will be the US men's national team. And the reason why I've got the US in there is
passport bias, living here, look at him, family. I've
got my fan jersey on here. Listen, the US are actually a team that I still think are continuously trying to get better and better, improve under Pochettino. If you take the best 11, the best select 11 that Pochettino has, and you manage to put them on the field at the same time, I think you'll see a consistently good performance. A major competition always seems to bring, in my personal opinion, the best out of this group. Yes, there has been a few hurdles. We obviously watched happen in 22, just couldn't quite get past that Netherlands hurdle, which would have been awesome to see. But I do think Pochettino is actually growing on me more and more. I love the way his teams play. Very offensive-minded. I think defensively they've been very solid, although sometimes those little mistakes are still creeping in friendly games. But that happens in friendly games. Being a player playing in friendly games, I hated them, couldn't stand them, couldn't concentrate as much as if something was on the line. But these games are actually quite interesting. So I do think that when we get the best 11 out there on the field, and he actually is happy with that 11, now he starts to build towards that first match day, you'll be impressed with what they've got.
Any concerns about their record against the top 30 teams in the world?
No. Actually, the last 4 games, I think it was the top 40 teams in the world, they've actually got very good results in, and it's the first time it's happened in like 50 years. So Poch is doing a good job, and I think he deserves a lot more credit. This is the first time in the national team, so I like what he's doing. Room for improvement. We'll watch them on the big stage.
All right, hit me with 7 and 8. Put them together. I like this.
All right, 7, I'm going for Colombia. I think CONMEBOL has been very impressive for me. Colombia has been excellent. Actually entertaining, one of the more entertaining nations to watch throughout qualification process. 28 goals, 18 against. What's not to love about that? You don't know if they're going to score or they're going to concede goals. But obviously, they drew too many games through the qualification process, which I didn't like to see. They've got talent. Lucho Diaz, excellent. If James Rodriguez can continue to score goals and perform in the way he's done for the national team, let's just say he goes into a World Cup with no club. I would absolutely love that. James Rodriguez is shocking when it comes to club level. Trust me, I've watched him in person multiple times. He's a boring interview as well, but wow, what a player he is for Colombia. If he turns it on in the major tournaments, they have an opportunity to spring a surprise, and I would love to see Colombia. Obviously, 94 was a big disappointment for them, 94 in the USA, so I'd love to see Colombia really surprise us all. Jumping ahead, I've gone for Norway in the top 10.
Now we're talking. Now we're talking. Talk me, I like this. Talk to me about this selection. I was wondering where he was going to end up and where this team was going to end up.
Yeah, I couldn't put them anywhere in the top 5 just simply because the competition's really too much. But this group is outstanding. Obviously, you've got Erling Haaland banging in the goals. I think it was 16 goals he scored through qualification through the process. They scored 37 goals in total. When you score goals, you have an opportunity of winning games, right? And I think the talent, we need to start respecting a little bit more. Erling Haaland is a freak of nature. He's one of the best in the world, full stop. But I think we've got to give Sorloth his comeuppance. I think he's an excellent player who will score goals for you. He struggles sometimes to get into that starting 11 at Atleti, but he scores goals when he actually plays, which I'm impressed. And I don't know if you watched Nusa's performance most recently. What a player. What a talent.
Incredible talent. The relationship he has with Haaland as well is going undocumented. Can I give you another one?
Go.
I love Solbakken on the sideline because, of course, a player that, as a player, went to the World Cup with Norway in '98, understands the responsibility, will have that relationship with Ronny Johnsen, Henningberg and Torre Andre Flo from that infamous team in '98. To translate that message now to this team, he is the perfect person to be delivering that message.
Yeah, and I think he's telling the team to actually be natural, to be authentic. Go play yourself. I don't know if you saw the clip after the qualification process, you know, understanding the moment. Celebrate every single moment for a nation like Norway to qualify for a World Cup, for their terrific supporters. And I've seen them in person. I was at the last time they competed in the World Cup in '98. The Norwegian fans are fantastic, and now they've got a real team to be proud about as well. So I hope they can really spring a surprise.
Really will spring a surprise. All right, cool. Take me through this now. So we've gone through, we're at 7?
Yep.
So take me to 6 now.
This is a big surprise. I've gone for Ecuador. Now, not many people will notice why I've gone for Ecuador.
I know why.
But they were excellent through qualification process, and defensively, they don't concede many goals. They conceded 5 goals from 18 games, which is absolutely insane. And then I think if you look at the defence, it obviously gets them into the top 10 more than anything else. I think Ecuador need to do a lot more going forward. They didn't score many goals, but they actually got themselves into that position where they were really pushing at the top of the table to potentially challenge Argentina. And I think they deserve a little bit more respect than anyone around the world has actually given them. So Colombia and Ecuador, I wasn't quite sure, but I just went on what happened in the table standing. So I've gone for Ecuador. Now, this is unbelievable. 14-match unbeaten streak with 11 clean sheets.
Defense wins championships, as they say. My only concern about Ecuador is whether or not they'll be able to, in the latter stages of competitions, break teams down and score on the other side. But defensively, they're one of the best teams in the world if you really pay attention.
Wouldn't be surprised, though. They made it to the knockouts.
Would not be surprised at all. OK, this is it, the best part, the top 5. Take me through now, Ian. Top 5 teams in the world right now heading into this World Cup.
Well, I know you're going to like this one because you mentioned it earlier on and I caught on to it. Morocco, sneak into my top 5. Why do I like Morocco? For me, the best team in Africa. Maybe that's controversial saying that, but I think the talent is clearly evident for all of us, and actually the performance. They're one of the most entertaining teams in world football, not just in Africa. They entertain all of us. And I really do think, obviously, ahead of what can happen in the World Cup in 2030, it's going to be pretty spectacular to see them host a major tournament. So I'm really intrigued to see how this group really handles it. But it's a mix of youth. Obviously, if you look at what they've done recently in the Olympics, incredible. If you go through the under-20s, under-17s, all the way down, they're competitive at all levels. Now mix that Olympics team with the team that obviously finished in the semi-final of the last World Cup, and that, to me, puts a hell of a roster together. So I think the experience they gained from the previous World Cup in 22 and being one of the most entertaining and young, exciting teams in world football gets them into my top 5. Like it?
I love it. Absolutely love it. And they're riddled with world-class players as well, if you really pay attention to what they're doing. OK, take me for the top 4. I've had no complaints so far, by the way. This is really rare for me, especially when I'm sitting here. OK, now I know there was going to be a problem. Number 4? Number 4.
Tell me why
the defending champions?
Tell me why they deserve to be in the top 3.
I just said it. Defending champions, absolutely smooth through qualification, made the group look easy in terms of with the depth. And by the way, how many South American teams have you got on here? So that tells me in terms of the quality that's in that region. You don't think that this guy right here wants a redemption tour? You don't think it's arguably his last World Cup? Julian Alvarez, one of the most complete forwards? You break it down to me why they're only 4.
Well, listen, they get into the top 4 first and foremost because they are Argentina and they are the world champions, and they deserve to be in the top 4 and potentially should be number 1, right? I agree with your argument that there should be an argument. Why are they not? I think discipline comes into play first and foremost. I'm worried about this Argentina side trying to back up what they previously did with the ego on their shoulders. Discipline comes into play for me. They need to keep themselves composed. And I think sometimes you have that chip on your shoulder and sometimes you think you're better than the rest. Argentina might just be that for me. But I do think they obviously cruised through qualification process. They scored, I think it was 30 goals they scored, and 10 goals came through set pieces. Now, 10 goals through set pieces gets you top of the table. I think the competitive nature of CONMEBOL wasn't enough for them to basically push them further down from top spot. So they are my favourite from South America going into the World Cup. They should be favourites. Messi, obviously, on the North American tour, just signed a new contract in Major League Soccer. Wonderful to see. Great experience. Good young players. They've got the lot. But if you look at what I've got in the top three, you might agree with me.
All right, take it away. Here's number 3. Take me away. This is going to be interesting because I want to know who you have ahead of Argentina.
France.
Okay. I can understand. Previous finalists, showcase what they've done over the last couple of World Cups. Been consistent, has Mbappe. But you take me away. Why do you think that they deserve to be ahead of him?
Well, listen, I think obviously the roster speaks for itself more than anything else. I think actually France, if you look at their roster, might be potentially the best roster in the whole World Cup going into it. It's just about team. Can you get the team performing? Can you get the team performing at the right level? Can you get the chemistry right? Can you keep them happy? There always seems to be a big problem when it comes to major tournament with this French national team. I do think there's something different about France. I think this World Cup, obviously, in North America will be very exciting for them. I wasn't overly convinced throughout the qualification process. Obviously, Kylian Mbappe blows everyone away with his goal scoring. He will always make you competitive. And in my opinion, Kylian Mbappe will blow this World Cup away. And I do think if you look at the pieces around him now, there's a lot of pieces who are fighting to get into there. I'm going to throw one at you real quickly. I think there's one player that makes the roster that not many people think will have an immediate impact or a big impact in a World Cup. Jean-Philippe Mateta. I think he could be key to their success in a major tournament because you're going to have to rotate and you need sometimes to win games by throwing the ball on the box and you need someone to hustle and be a quality finisher, and it's not necessarily Mbappe who does that. Sometimes you need that nastiness and that quality. Mateta brings that to me and he's proven it already since his recent call-up to the national team for the first time.
Mateta's already doubted so many people wrong until just getting to this stage. So I don't even doubt it that he could have a huge impact in a major tournament. Okay, the top 2 now. This is where we start to drive. I have a feeling that I know one of the teams that's going to be in this because he hasn't come up as of yet.
Scotland.
Here we go. I knew it was going to happen at some point. Take me away, Ian. What's going on?
Listen, I love Thomas Tuchel. I'm a big fan of him. I think the way he's handled the English media is exceptional. I think the way he's handled the personalities within the English locker room or dressing room for us is exceptional. And I think he's brought this group together. I think defensively, they've impressed me. Not conceding goals is unbelievable. Throughout qualification process, I get it. Easier opposition, but you still got to have clean sheets. Pickford's been outstanding. The 2 centre-backs have been excellent. Full-backs are improving. I think the midfield's getting stronger. And I think once you bring this group together, they'll be competitive with any nation in the world. Any nation. Doesn't matter who they are. It might even be my number 1. By the way, we've already seen that match before. But I do think Thomas Tuchel brings something different to the international stage. He's a club coach, right? He's not an international coach. Full stop. But a German taking over the English national team and being accepted, I didn't think I would ever see in my lifetime. But he has become liked by the media.
He has.
And loved by the players. I'm really intrigued to see how we actually manage to cope with a major tournament. So I'm excited to see, obviously, England with Harry Kane, who I think is going to be flying, and every single piece of the puzzle around them, he's got them ticking.
Okay, so we're there. The drum roll comes because number 1, enjoy, Paul, take me away. Oh, I knew it was going to happen. I knew it was going to. This is my walk-off set right now. Look. Take me away.
Well, tell me why it shouldn't be number 1.
Look, I have no complaints. They arguably have been the element of consistency for the last 15 to 20 years. What they've done since the turn of the century in terms of just to revolutionise football needs to be documented.
Yeah.
But it's just the obvious choice, isn't it? It's just the obvious choice.
Listen, plus 450, they're the bookies' favourite as well by an absolute mile. Best squad of players, young and experienced. By the way, De La Fuente has this team absolutely purring right now. And there's more to come from Spain. Listen, obviously watching the Euros was excellent. They were brilliant back then, and I think they'll be excellent going into this World Cup. They deserve to be, obviously, favourites by the bookies and also by us as well because of that mix of quality that they have and they possess. But I do think the experience is vital. Spain want to win a World Cup. They want to win this World Cup. And I think a European nation winning in North America is not going to be easy. So it's difficult for me to have my top 3 be in European nations. More often than not, you would say a South American nation would have more success. But there's something about this World Cup that tells me that Spain are going to be successful. I just think there's a few surprises there. Probably Portugal would be one of my biggest surprises, but I love Spain.